Mic check, mic check.
Mic check, 1, 2.
We are in the building.
Yeah. Ooh. What's up, Orlando? Welcome to Peace on the Streets Radio Show.
Ow.
And I'm your host, Prince of the Sun.
And your girl, Mimi Mala with.
And your neighbor. What's up, everybody?
What's up, neighbor? How you doing?
We're alive. We made it.
Yes, we did. We're good to be here another week. We thank you, Orlando, for tuning in to Peace on the Streets Radio Show and listening to what we have going on right here on Peace on the Street.
Yep, we wouldn't be here without you guys, so we appreciate every last listener, watcher, viewer on the radio, on Instagram, YouTube, wherever you watching and listening. Thank you very much.
Ow.
That's where you can find us, all over the place. YouTube.
Come on. Even on TV. We did it, guys.
TV.
Let's go.
Maybe you was on TV. We got a lot to talk about tonight as well. Peace on the Streets is going to making their way to television.
Television.
That's a beautiful thing.
I'm not going to say who knew because we've been claiming it. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
We have been saying this since
That's
last year, December.
Exactly.
Come on.
Now opportunities are coming for us to be on TV.
That's right.
And you guys, and it's coming for sure. 2020.
Well, we already did it, so I guess what I'm going to claim
There you
next.
go.
Yeah.
Our own TV show.
That's right.
Come on.
Yes, we'd love
Let's
to have
go.
our own television show.
It's going to happen.
That would
Yes.
be dope.
It's going to happen. So we got to tell you guys exactly what has happened on Monday.
Uh-huh.
We were on Afro TV, guys.
Nice.
Who knew?
Yes.
Oof.
Who knew when we get there? And
That's
that's
right.
on Ruco, Xfinity, and also Comcast. That's a big deal, guys. So, the reach is really far.
Yes.
And so we made it.
Amen.
We had an interview on James Young's show, which is called The Lowdown. I got to experience my first time, nighttime television.
Yes.
It's kind of like Jay Leno vibe.
Uh-huh.
He's hilarious. He's a comedian. He started off as that, went on iHeartRadio, still has a show on iHeart, and then transferred over to TV. So he has both.
Sweet.
Here in Orlando, it's right under our noses, guys. The
Wow.
studio is here
Come
in
on.
Orlando. But it's one of the best studios I've ever seen.
Okay, I seen it.
It was
nice.
and
Yeah.
everything
The thing
was
was set
so
up sweet.
cordial. Yeah, that's how you know it's official. The production, the crew, I got to give a shout out to them. They were amazing. The makeup artists.
Yes.
It was so well done. So professional. Honestly, I said, Mom and Dad, I made it. I made it.
I saw you with Miss International World.
I got
Lord.
to wear my
You got-
sash and
and
my
that's great.
crown.
You
You
get a
look
chance
great.
to promote them
Oh,
as
yeah.
well.
The producers
great.
allowed me to. Yeah, and that's what I
That's
say,
awesome.
guys. I don't leave anybody behind. If you're connected with us,
Yes.
and you are partners, wherever we at, you, myself, and Neo, we're talking about you guys,
That's
and we're
right.
representing live, no
That's
matter what.
right. That's right.
So
Let's
we
go.
do got our sponsors. We got to talk about Mrs. International World. She'll be on tonight. She'll be giving us all the updates on Miss International World. And you need to be sitting down. I do anyway. Because every time she knocks me off my feet, every time she comes on the show, me.
She's amazing, and again, if it wasn't for her, we would have not opened up in front of 10,000 people for
Yeah.
the Salsa Fest.
Uh-huh.
We had the photographer, the official photographer from the Salsa Fest that gave us all those photos that you've seen. Will be on the line tonight.
Nice.
Yeah, from Miami, South Florida.
Sweet,
Yeah.
sweet. We also have 321 No Fault, another one of our sponsors, in case you guys involved in any kind of accident, slip, or fall.
Any kind. Workers' comp, slip or fall. Guys, reach out to us. You never know if you have a case. But listen, let me say this real quick is really important. After your accident, you must see a doctor within 14 days. There's statute of limitations in each state. Here was 14 days. I had a young lady that got in a car accident in January. Needed help now because she's feeling the pain, and she never went to the doctors, and none of the lawyers could pick her up because she took too long
Right.
to say anything. So, guys, 14 days in Florida, statutes of limitations. Reach out to me immediately. Got you guys covered.
That's what's up.
That's right.
And then once you leave there, make sure you go to Slap the Apple Memphis Style Barbecue. They're a barbecue joint right there off 1955 South the Park of Island. That's close to Windermere Olympia High School. In case you guys don't know, that is a Park of Island Road. They're there every Saturday from 11 to 4. You got to get there early because I'm telling you, they selling out around 3:30. They is packing this thing up.
I know.
So we thank Orlando for coming out and supporting Slap the Apple Memphis
That's right.
Style Barbecue.
Anil, what's the website?
They have a website for the barbecue sauce, and it is slaptheapplebarbecuesauce.com. Go ahead and get you some original or some spicy barbecue sauce.
Yeah, it's
right,
amazing.
man.
And the orders have already started.
Yes, they have.
And it's sold in stores, guys.
Yes.
It's official. We made it again.
Right.
Most
That's
definitely. And so in case you have problems going to getting your barbecue sauce, check out our partner, Central Florida Transmission Repair. They fix the cars from the rooter to the dooter.
Oil change, AC.
Yes, I was just there the other day. They did AC work, and what happened with the new vehicles? You can't use the old type of Freon that you used to use. In fact, the cars, you can't even use the same tool that you use to hook it up. You know, like you go to the store and buy that Freon thing.
Yeah.
Now the cars has changed.
Really?
Oh, wow.
And they don't even sell the tools to hook it up.
Oh,
So you
man.
can't, that old Freon it doesn't even work. So now you go to the dealership, they charge $150 a pound.
That's the way to do it?
Yes.
Wow.
Now, my car holds 19 pounds at 150 bucks.
How they expect the people to pay this?
So what transmission, Central Florida Transmission Repair does, they charge you one flat rate for $550
Wow.
Okay.
to get it done.
Is this this
That's
robbery?
way better.
Like, this,
you know.
the cars, how they set up.
You know they have made so
setup.
much money.
it's all the
These
setup.
guys.
But see, what happened is just like VCRs and when they first came out, VCRs and CDs and all that.
Yeah.
They be high at first, and then once everybody gets it, it goes down. It's just a matter of time. Everybody have it, but all the people, all the mechanic places can't afford the machine.
Right.
The machine is super expensive.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
And so now they're able to charge. But what I like about them, they charge one flat rate for $550.
And they got financing, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Ooh.
Up to $3,000.
There you go.
Oh, man.
So make sure you go to Central Florida Transmission Repair Service. I mean, they take care of you. I mean, hey.
From the
Mine.
Rudy to the Guys, give them a call, 407-203-1217, OrlandoTransmissionRepair.com, 4685 Old Winter Garden Road, Orlando, Florida, 32811.
And y'all, we got special guests coming in. We're going to talk to Nurse V tonight.
Ow!
And so we got a full lineup.
It's a big lineup, guys. Look, first of all, don't forget, we're still running our taxes, right? It's still going on,
yes.
isn't it? Until like April.
I mean,
Well,
it's
yesterday
passed. It already
was
passed.
it.
Oh,
it
is
was
it?
the
Yeah.
18th
Are we in
was the
May?
last day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, April 18th was the
Yesterday
last
was it.
day.
Thank God, it's over.
I did it the 17th. You feel me?
I pretty much
last
did it
time.
immediately. Guys, I don't want to miss the Shade Tree. We have a new release coming tonight. I can't wait to hear it. Mikhail Michaels is going to kill it. I absolutely love it. We have our first guest coming up, which is Mike Brodsky. If you don't know who he is the author of Incremental Improvements. This is a change your life one small step at a time. It's a book, guys. And The Fourth Down and Dam, which I like that title.
Yeah.
That's a linesman story, an autobiography of Leon Searcy. And if you guys don't know these guys, they are big time right here in the game. They have MBAs. They're involved in Yale Alumni Association, Central Florida IV Club, as well as the Mustard Seed, business directors of World Sports Alumni,
Wow.
president of the Jewish Chamber of Commerce,
Jesus.
member of the team selection committee for Florida Citrus Sports. I mean, if you guys don't know them, you're sleeping. Also, they host the Super Bowl at one of their events, which is the NFL Honors and Carpet Pro Bowl. They are involved so deeply. The you know how they have the how am I going to call it, Prince? What comes out here? Right? What comes out during every single year? All Stars.
Yes.
They're involved in the All-Stars all the time
Yes.
when they show up. They are inside giving exclusive interviews with these Pro Bowls. So they are so invested. It's such an honor to be with them.
Yeah.
They also help organizations, nonprofits, and help raise money for a lot of the children in the community, especially with scholarships, Prince.
Beautiful.
They're going to
That's
release
what's up.
that tonight. So again, Nurse V, Bruce Rothschild. Have you ever heard of him? He's the ex-NFL San Diego Chargers running back and blocking back.
All right.
He'll be coming in for a second.
Fullback.
Yes. Second term he's coming in. He's the World Sports Alumni. Another one.
Oh, you know,
Another one.
I love the sports talk. The sports
WSA
guys, you know.
founder, as well as the president of NFL Alumni, NFLPA. I mean, again, impressive resume, guys. You don't want to miss it. We have so much more in store. If I sit
Yes.
here repeating this, we'll be all day.
and so today is Luther Vandross's birthday.
Wow.
So we'll be honoring Luther with a little Luther today.
Ooh, that's some good
Let's
music.
do it.
So you guys keep it locked to Peace on the Streets radio show. We have a full show.
Woo!
And Nurse V, she'll be coming up soon. Right here on Peace on the Streets. Welcome back to Peace on the Streets. We got to do a tribute to Luther Vandross, you know, and I'm playing some of my favorite Luther Vandross songs throughout the show today. So we got a special guest in with me.
Oh, Mike, the impressive resume. By the way, it's your second time with us on Peace on the Street.
It is. We were just talking about this. I was here in December of 2019,
That's right.
pre-COVID. Yes.
Yes.
That's right.
That's it.
So, Mike, if you guys don't know, he's a heavy hitter in Orlando, Central Florida, also involved with Mustard Seed. And that's how, I think one of the reasons how I actually met you, it was part of Fierce Entertainment.
Yeah.
Which they're amazing. God bless their souls.
Yeah.
They're doing big things, by the way. They got a grant.
Our friends.
Yes, they got a grant from Florida.
Nice.
So big shout out to them because they're
That's
going to be
right.
making big movements in the
Yes,
city.
indeed.
So, Mike,
great.
please,
Yes.
please explain and express to our audience your books, your background, and all that you invested in. Your resume is so long.
Well, we'll start with the book. The book is, because one of the books is new since I last saw you. Of course, the new book is called Fourth Down and Damn, A Lineman's Story, the autobiography of Leon Searcy, as told by Mike Brodsky. And, of course, I should point out that it's actually an acronym, Diary of an Athlete's Memoirs and Notes, in case you were wondering what that stands for there. But Fourth Down and Damn is... I think it's a great story. Leon Searcy, for those who don't know, is a 3-time national champion with the Miami Hurricanes.
Right.
Wow.
And also was the first-round draft pick of the Pittsburgh Steelers. For those who know Coach Bill Cowher, yes, Coach Bill Cowher, who's a Hall of Fame coach, Leon was actually the first-round draft pick for Coach Cowher. And then, of course, yes, and then also became a free agent with the Jaguars and was really the highest paid free agent as an offensive lineman in the NFL back in the mid-'90s. And so this is his story. It was a very, very fascinating story of a lot of highs and lows off the gridiron, including sort of hitting rock bottom and then sort of coming back. But it's a great story for those who aren't familiar. Certainly worth the read. And also the audiobook is now out there. And it's actually my voice on the audiobook because Leon didn't want to read the whole book, so he had me do the audiobook, and then Leon just gets on. We have like an hour's worth of bonus material where Leon tells a bunch of additional stories that weren't in the book. So check out the audiobook. I'm not sure if you had a chance to listen
I
to
gave it to the team. They all have it. And they have the promo code. Yes.
That's right. I gave a little promo code out earlier. But for those who are interested in checking out the audiobook, it is available through Amazon. And actually, the easiest way to find it is if you go to tinyurl.com/lineman's story. That'll get you there. Or also tinyurl.com/damn audio. That'll also take you to the site if you want to download it yourself and check out the audiobook. And also the book can be found at Amazon. Again, Fourth Down and Damn. If you search either that title or if you look at Mike Brodsky, you'll see that book pop up along with my first book, Incremental Improvements, Change Your Life One Small Step at a Time, which is what we were talking about back in 2019. So those are the books. And now, of course, maybe you mentioned the mustard seed. So it may be worth talking a little bit about the mustard seed.
Absolutely.
I'll throw a little bit in there. For those who are not familiar with the mustard seed of Central Florida, we are a furniture and clothing bank. So I'm currently the chairman of the board of the Mustard Seed.
Sweet.
And great organization. We've helped thousands and thousands of individuals and families, folks that are dealing with either personal tragedy or natural disaster, and they're trying to get back on their feet. They're maybe moving into a new apartment, a new home, and what we do is we help to provide the furniture so that you don't have the families, eating on a
Sleeping on the
floor or sleeping on the floor.
Right.
I mean, we get mattresses and beds and the kitchen tables and couches and everything they need to make a house a home. So it's
And
really
the
a great
warehouse is
organization.
impressive. It's very large. I've been there.
I know a couple of guys that work there.
Yeah, really
okay,
nice.
good.
Yes. BJ. Guy named BJ. Young kid named BJ. And he loved it because he loved working there because of what they was able to do for the community. And he was like, Mr. Griffith, you wouldn't even believe it, all the stuff that they do. So, man, I know about you all's organization very well.
That's right.
So that's
you guys can also
thing.
donate to them. And if you want to volunteer, they have a lot of positions that you can volunteer for. It's great for children too. When they volunteer from high school to get the credits, to get that, it's they learn a lot and they understand how to work with people and what's going on in the world.
Awesome.
Right.
It's amazing.
Awesome.
Yes. Absolutely. And for those who are interested in learning more, if you go to mustardseedfla.org, that's fla.org. That's the website, and you can learn more about the organization, get involved. We're always looking for volunteers, and also there are a couple of big fundraising events coming up later on this year, which check out the website. Be sure to follow us, and you'll hear more about those coming up later on in the year.
What made you want to write a book about him in particular?
And Leon was a big boy.
I want to know.
Leon is a big boy. He's a very big boy, yes.
6'4", 313 pounds.
Oh, boy, he's a lies man.
And
Yes.
I watched him on the 30-30
Yes.
series.
Oh, no way.
Yes, I watched
Interesting.
him because he played for Miami.
Yes.
Right.
Miami changed the way
That they're recruiting these guys?
the way they acted for us, the players in Miami, the way the schools acted, because they changed everything because Miami. And Miami, I don't know if you remember, Miami was coming out in fatigue. They won it like 3 years in a row, the championship.
Yes, they did. I remember
But they
them.
were so oppressive, and they were just dominating.
Yeah.
And man,
Yeah.
that was a big thing to play
Wow.
for the U.
The U.
Right.
The U, baby.
Yes. I mean,
The U.
Leon was involved in the 87, the 89, and the 91 championships. But the reason, it was actually, the story kind of, I guess you could say, fell into my lap during COVID, really. It was something that I wasn't necessarily looking to go out and write a book like this. It was actually, it sort of came to me in an unusual way, and it actually will tie into one of the other guests appearing on the show a little bit later on. We're both involved in an organization.
Yes.
I don't know if I should even go ahead and tease who
Yes!
else is waiting in
Go
the
ahead,
wings
we're
out
listening.
there. So Bruce Rothschild is also a member of this organization called World Sports Alumni. And what happened was Leon Searcy, who had recently also joined World Sports Alumni, was working on getting this book out there. He had been working on this autobiography for many years, and World Sports Alumni had connected him with an author, and for various reasons, that author just kind of petered out, kind of fizzled out, didn't want to finish the book or work on the book. So in a panic, the CEO of World Sports Alumni, Charlie Williams, reached out to me and he says, Mike, you've written a book. Would you like to help Leon with this book? Wow. Now, this is in July of 2020. And for those who remember what was going on in the summer of 2020, COVID was happening. There wasn't a lot going on in terms of like networking events or getting out and doing things. Everybody was kind of trapped indoors.
Yes.
And so I figured, I had a little extra free time. So why not? It sounded like a great story. So Leon kind of turned over his diaries. He turned over a bunch of audio recordings. And it was just a great project. I'd go to work as a financial advisor during the day. I'd sort of come home and have dinner with the family. And, then spend a few hours after that before bedtime just working on the book. And within about 11 days, I had much of the book put together, and then my wife was reading it and saying, but it's missing certain things, and she kind of pointed me in the right direction. So I went back to Leon. We spent another week kind of, getting more stories out of Leon and kind of filling in some of the blanks. And then within about 3 weeks, the book was kind of ready to go. And then we ended up officially launching it November of 2020 when the Pittsburgh Steelers came to play the Jaguars up in Jacksonville, and that was kind of fun. But it was weird because everyone's wearing, they had to wear the masks and everything, and it was hard to really interact with the fans. But at the same time, it was kind of a cool thing. And then we had like another party at a cigar bar that night, and it was a great event and. A strange time, just given COVID and everything else. It's nice that at least now things are starting to get back to normal, and we were able to launch the audiobook at the start of the NFL season this year. And Leon and I are actually in the process of working on getting some book signings up and running. So if you follow us on Facebook, if you look for Fourth Down and Damn, you should be able to find the Facebook page. Follow us because we'll be announcing pretty soon some of the dates and times of when those will be happening. So.
Awesome.
Oh, we got to. I would like to be online for that book signing.
Yeah.
We'll let you know.
Please do.
Absolutely.
And I will get one for you as well, Prince.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
I know how he was very excited for you guys to come here because he's a sports
fan of
fanatic.
Fan of the U. Okay, that's good. Yeah. All right.
That's impressive,
That's awesome.
though. So it took you basically
Yes.
like 4 weeks to write a book?
Which is crazy because the other book, Incremental Improvements, was sort of a much longer process. I mean, it was something that I kind of started, way back in about 2006. And even when I first started writing it, it wasn't really even intended to be a book. It was really notes to myself about conversations that I was having with people about various topics. Because the book Incremental Improvements is sort of a self-help, self-improvement book. And the whole idea was I was trying to put together messages for people about ways to make changes in their lives. Because people were coming to me for not just questions about their money and how to invest and that kind of thing, but they were asking me for life advice and guidance in different aspects of their lives. And so I started kind of taking these notes, and it wasn't until I had left my previous company to join my current company, Ameriprise Financial, that I found out that, well, with this new company, I actually could be an author and I could put the book out there as long as I got all the industry regulators' approvals and got our company's compliance department to review the book. But I figured when I started to think about these notes that I had been taking, I realized there sort of was a book developing there. So I went back and kind of finished that up. But it wasn't until I think in April of 2014 that I kind of finished the book and I submitted it to our compliance department. Now then it took another 8 months for the compliance department to actually review the book and get it out there. But by December of 2014, it was ready to go. But if you think about that, that was pretty much like an 8-year time period of putting that book together.
Because you had to get a lot of approvals.
Well, there's a lot of approvals, but even the fact that I wasn't necessarily, I didn't even know I was really working on a book until much later. But that was a much longer process. So the first one took a long time. And then this one, the one with Leon, was really a breeze by comparison, and partly because Leon, I think, had provided me with such great information.
That's
that
what
made
I
it a
was
lot
going to
easier
say.
too.
I bet it did.
Yeah.
So
Did he
it was
talk
great.
about the girl that stole $600,000 from him?
That's not the word. That's not the word we use.
Okay.
That got Leon in a lot of trouble, and we were very careful about that in the book. We did not use that word.
All right,
but
then.
in the book, there is a story about how. Yes, someone in his life may have maybe moved some money from an account that they owned jointly into an account that was in her name. So that story is in the book. That story is in the book.
It's in the book.
But yes,
We don't say stole.
No.
Okay,
No.
so-
She didn't steal
Allegedly?
anything.
Maybe
She didn't-
allegedly still
No. She didn't steal anything.
She
It
didn't
was
steal
her
nothing.
money. It was her
Right.
money. It was in a joint account. But no,
Oh, wow.
That's true.
there's
It's
there's
joint
a-
account. It's true.
There's a story. There's a story in the book about it. It's a great story. It's a great story. But yes, because I know he got into a little bit of trouble on the 30 for 30 special, I believe, when he told
way.
that story originally. Yes, it is definitely one of the stories in the book. But
I can't wait to read it.
Yes,
Yes.
it
Can't
is.
wait to read it.
Absolutely.
It just jumps at you, especially because I know
Yeah.
the man. I know his story.
Yeah, for
Yes.
sure.
Yes.
so
And I
it's,
gave you
yeah.
Mike's link and everything to order to hear the audiobook. That's what I sent you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you
got
can
a
hear
code.
it there.
You got a code for the audiobook.
You don't have
Nice.
the
Yes.
physical form. Is that a new thing now, the audiobook? Because people are working and then moving around a lot, so they hear these things. People do listen to these things in their cars. Put his mic up. So if somebody
But,
wants to
yeah.
write a book, because I have a lot
Yes.
of artists, I have plenty of talented friends that want to write a book, don't know how to go
Right.
about it.
I'm sure thinking about writing a book.
So where
Yeah,
do we
you
go?
got
Parking
stories?
lot Dan.
Who
What's it
can we
called?
go to?
Parking lot Dan.
Parking lot Dan.
Parking lot Dan.
Okay.
You never look at the parking lot the same. Some tragically happened to parking lot Dan, and he became a serial killer.
Oh my goodness.
He's so creative.
I want to see this movie now.
So let
I
me
wanna
ask
see
you
the
this:
movie. Yeah,
how
okay.
can we write a book? Who can we go to for this?
Okay, so I would say the best thing I could tell you is that if you, for those who say I want to write a book, I have this idea for a book, the best thing you can do is just get it down on paper. You really got to get it down on paper. Now, for some people, if you're not a great typist or you have poor handwriting or whatever, with technology is pretty amazing these days. Everybody has a cell phone. Everybody has one of these right here, and with a cell phone, you can do talk to type, right? You just talk into your cell phone, and if you can just tell the story, talk the story, your cell phone should do a pretty good job of getting it into print, right? Now I know there's going to be typos and it's not going to be perfect, but at least if you can tell the story, record the audio, or do that talk to text, at least you can sort of get the story in some format that then it can be edited, right? So if it's a good story, then you can at least start to get the word out there and hopefully find someone that can help to edit it and sort of get it out there. But even if you wanted to just self-publish, there are great resources that are out there for anybody that's looking to self-publish. Amazon has what they call Kindle Direct Publishing, and the website is kdp.amazon.com. And for anybody who just goes to KDP, KindleDirectPublishing.amazon.com, there are actually how-to videos and instructions that can tell anybody how to do and how to make their own book, how to publish their own book, every step along the way. So for somebody who's really looking to be an author in this day and age, anybody can do it.
Yes, they can.
If you've got a story to tell,
A memoir, journal they have.
yes.
I met
Parking Lot Dan. I want to hear Parking Lot Dan. I want to know that story.
I
Yeah.
have met a hitman that wrote
What?
that wrote a memoir and published
Yeah.
it.
Oh, wow.
And he's out. He's no longer a hitman. He didn't murder anybody. Well, a hitman's a murder, right?
Yeah.
Well, he said hitman, so
Yeah.
I plead the fifth on that.
We
But
don't know.
Could be a boxer. Could be a boxer, maybe. I don't know.
I
Yeah.
he went to prison.
He
It's a-
definitely,
okay.
he definitely said he broke a couple people's knees.
That's it.
Oh,
That's it.
my. Oh, my. All right.
But he was able to he
Yeah.
had a memoir, and he took that and made it into a book. And now
Yes.
he changed his life around, though. When he got out of prison, he totally changed his life around. But he was able to publish it and now express the story of
Right.
what got him here, how he changed his life around, how
Yeah.
he just...
That's the big man that came.
That
in
is
the show.
Harding.
From Big
Mr.
Bang.
Thomas Harding, yes!
That's
So
right.
we got to get a song in, you guys, and then we'll be back with our friend, you guys.
Mike Brodsky in the building!
All right.
Here's to you, Luther Vandross. Welcome back to Peace on the Streets radio show.
So beautiful.
And Neil's crying. It's such a beautiful song.
And we back here with our boy Mike.
Mike Brodsky in the
Man,
building!
times fly when you're having fun.
It
We
is.
got to wrap the party up with Mr. Mike. Tell us again, how can we purchase the book and all those great
And the
things?
names once again, please.
Yes, absolutely. So, Fourth Down and Dam, A Lineman's Story, the autobiography of Leon Searcy, and also Incremental Improvements, Change Your Life One Small Step at a Time. The best way to find all of the links is if you go to my link tree, which is linktr.ee/Mike Brodsky. So that's linktr.ee/Mike Brodsky, MikeBrodsky, and you'll see all the links for the books and a bunch of other organizations that I've been involved with.
You know, ESPN has to pick you up. They're going to have like how you said the special, is it the 30? The 30, whatever it's called?
30 for 30, yeah.
They got to do something like that with you.
Maybe. We'll see. They haven't been knocking on my
We're
door
going to call
yet.
in existence. It's going to happen.
Have anybody else been asking you since you've done his documentary to do theirs?
I've had a couple people that have asked me to help write books, and I don't know that I necessarily want to commit to another book unless it's really an amazing story.
Yeah.
And they also have to be willing to do some work. I think a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, I'll hire you to write my story," and it's like I try to get information out of them, or like, "Well, what have you written already?" And it's like, "No, you just write my story." And it's like, "Well, I need a little bit more information to work with." you know?
Right.
I need a little more. So that's one of the reasons why I mentioned earlier. If you got a story, get it on paper as soon as possible. That's really step one.
I'm sure that helps a lot because you have something.
You got to
course.
have something tangible.
Something to
Yes.
work
You have to
with.
deliver it to
Yes.
the writer.
That's
What
right.
can he write?
Exactly.
That's just like with Mimi. I have one of our sponsors, and so I go by there. She'll just tell me. I said, "Well, Mimi, I need you to get it." She said, "Prince, I can't come. Just get something. Just get something. Just something.
That's right.
Prince.
Anything.
Anything.
I say, you got to bring me back something.
Anything.
Yeah.
I'll take anything."
I get on him bad for that. Yeah, for sure. It only makes sense. We need some material. But yeah, of course, guys, remember, he's local here in Orlando, guys.
Yes.
They have charities going on. They have nonprofits. They support the kids. There is a
James
scholarship,
Young. You
right?
want to talk about James
Let's
Young?
do it. Let's do it right
Well,
now.
because I know, Mimi, of course, you were just on James Young's show.
The lowdown.
Right?
Come on. Yes.
Show.
Yes.
And congratulations on
Thank
that. That's
you.
awesome. But James Young is actually co-hosting, along with Tommy Davidson from In Living Color.
Oh,
there's a
nice.
big concert coming up. It's going to be next Wednesday.
Yes.
Wednesday, the 27th of April at Mango's on iDrive in Orlando.
He was supposed to be
And,
here, but he's hosting that.
He's gonna be hosting
Yeah,
that.
so yeah.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah, he's got an alibi. He's
Yeah,
got-
he does.
Yeah.
Got out
But
of it
it's-
this time,
It's
brother.
a great concert to benefit a great cause. It's futuredna.org. Future Dreamers and Achievers is the name of the organization. futuredna.org. They've got a concert coming up. They're going to be giving away 2 college scholarships.
College scholarships.
Yes.
College.
Nice.
Yes. And more. There'll be more to come. But this particular concert, you've got Crystal Waters, who's known for Gypsy Woman, the la-da-dee, la-da-da.
Get out of
Yeah, she'll be
here.
there. Cece Peniston, Finally, right? That song is
wish
you
we
want to
could-
play lately.
And it's happened to me.
I wish we could be there.
That's right. We
But
need
it's
Cece.
on a
Mimi.
Wednesday. Yeah, I know.
We got Mimi to sing it. And also Turbo B, formerly of Snap. If you know the song The Power. I got the Now his line is I'm the lyrical Jesse James, right?
You guys know this. Yes.
Yes, he's going to be there.
Just,
He's going to be there as well.
these are really like veterans in the game. They're,
Yeah.
I would say they're
yeah.
legends now.
It's an old school concert. So I should mention that for those who are looking to get tickets for this, if you go to either iwantmyoldskool.eventbrite.com or futuredna.org, and here's a little discount code. If you want to save 10% off the $29 admission fee, you can save 10% by using the code 4th Down. The number 4, TH, FDOWN. Fourth down will save you 10% on the tickets to the event.
Fantastic.
That's a big deal.
Awesome.
They're offering scholarships to children. You said two,
Yes.
right?
Two
For college.
Yeah. Well, I think it's for any college, really. I mean, so
Okay.
it's, what it is they're trying to help high school students.
High school, got
You know, and give them sort of some opportunities that they might not otherwise have had. So, you know,
For sure.
And of course, down the road, the plan is Bob Rivera, who runs the organization, is really trying to get this up and running, and hopefully we'll be giving out many more scholarships in the future years to come. So,
If they need
yes.
our help for the
Yes.
exposure, for further
Yes.
more exposure, because those are heavy
Right.
hitters, let us know. Because
Please.
I really support the children, especially with scholarships. I'm actually a first time, I had an opportunity for the first time to actually understand and receive a scholarship. My son Royal just got a scholarship.
Nice.
Yeah, you guys don't even know. I'm just announcing this right now.
Wow.
He got it yesterday.
Okay.
So he plays flag football. I'm not ready for the touch football, even though they've been trying to get him on touch football since he was 10.
Tackle.
Because tackle football, because he is 5'8" and he's only 13.
Right.
And at 11 years old, he was like beating the grown men.
Yeah.
Already. So they've been trying to get him on tackle football. He's like, Mom, I'm not ready yet to get hit. I get it, son. So we went to the flag football. From that point, from playing in the Coe, they picked him up last year and offered him this year a scholarship to play at Dr. Phillips.
Shut up.
And now he got accepted to the Performing Arts School in Dr. Phillips. So I'm just saying this is God's plan because it's on alignment. He's keeping him Dr. Phillips.
Nice.
And I met the team today and I met Coach. I've never experienced a scholarship. And let me say I have 3 boys.
Okay.
I have twins and a singleton. It's so hard for me to pay for sports for them.
Yes.
Especially for the twins. It's double every time.
Exactly.
To actually get accepted, I cried because I finally it's free.
Yeah.
And he's working with professional coaches and even the team. It's professional kids.
Awesome.
So again, the scholarships are so important for our youth. It's so hard for the parents to pay for this, guys.
Yeah.
So please support our youth, support the teams, support these guys because they are helping change lives.
That's
My
right.
son is so excited, and it really has changed my life. So
Yeah.
I never experienced it. So thank you so much, Mike
great.
Brodsky, for
Appreciate
being
you, Mr.
here.
Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you
Thank
know
you.
this is home to you. Whenever you
appreciate
have
it.
anything that's going on, please reach out to us, man.
I
And
appreciate
let us
that.
know, and man, we'd love to bring you back on.
leading the city in the shot put. He was the guy who at 180 pounds was teaching me really how to throw the 12-pound shot, and I ended up throwing a little over 64 feet in high school and ended up leading the city, which within LA with the San Fernando Valley, that was pretty good at the time, and I was also high school All-American in football too.
So how did they know that you had this potential, your parents?
They just saw this chubby kid who can move like the wind.
But I
And-
see you say you ran track.
Yeah,
That was very important. I tell kids, if you play
That's it.
sports, run track, man.
Oh, yeah.
Run track is very important.
No matter what sport you play, it's the fundamentals of being an athlete, period.
You have to
Be a-
love to run.
Yeah, be a multi-sport athlete stops
That's
those
it.
injuries that these kids are getting now because they're going from camp to training camp to a national team, and they're tearing themselves up. By the time they hit high school, they're burned out.
Right.
And me, I did baseball, I did football, I did track and field. I ran the 100, the 220. I, at 235 pounds, was running the quarter and the mile relay.
Man, boy, you
And-
was moving.
Yeah, I was
That's
moving.
insane.
Yeah. And it was just was something my coach wanted me to do. The only thing he stopped me from doing was pole vaulting, because back then they had metal poles, and frankly, he was afraid I'd end up spearing someone in the head or something.
Wow.
Yeah, like, oh, look at this javelin.
Yeah, no, he's a big guy and he's gonna get you. Oh, I can imagine. Oh, it's risky. With him, you gotta watch it.
Absolutely.
So what are you up to these days?
Well, there is actually about 3 major things. One, I run a hot tub, pool, and sauna store in the Melbourne Square Mall, and we actually deliver all over the state of Florida. So if anybody wants
Wow.
a hot tub, a pool, or a sauna, just contact me at your backyard superstore, and we're in the Melbourne Square Mall. I'm also here for my nonprofit, which is Veteran Cemetery Restoration. And this is a nonprofit we started about 4 years ago because my good friend Michael Cheek just was pulled into this cemetery, and that he had passed 10,000 times and felt he was pulled to the back, and he found, besides homeless camps, there were trees that had fallen over these grave sites, and there was no American flag. we eventually found that there were 35 veterans there.
Wow.
And this is an African-American cemetery that has no long-term care, because the cemetery was started in 1912.
Whoa.
And they raised funds by actually selling on the street corner with boiled peanuts and sweet potato pie. Because at that point, there was no place for black folk to be buried, because you're certainly not going to get buried in a white cemetery.
Right.
Really? It was like that, though,
Oh, yeah.
guys?
Yeah.
Not that long ago. Not that long ago. So,
I never thought about that.
yeah, they started this the cemetery, and unfortunately, with the groundskeeper, who really within that grouping, you would have your caretaker is the one who knew all about who was buried there.
Okay.
Because lots of folks didn't know how to read and write, so they didn't have a written record. So when we got there were headstones that were cracked open. You can actually see the bodies in there.
Wow.
And so
Whoa.
we ended up taking out over 2.5 tons of garbage, homeless camps, fallen trees, because there's something out here that's called a potato vining. I'm from California, y'all. I had never heard of a potato vining. I thought they were making something up. But it's this vining that is not indigenous to Florida that grows and wraps itself around trees until it literally, thousands of pounds of vining later, literally tops these oak trees over.
Yep.
And so that's what had happened at the cemetery. And you couldn't see the last half of the cemetery because it was
Whoa.
just under rubble, trash, human waste from the homeless camps. So we came in, and first thing we did is we made our own American flag poles and the 5 service flags, and we put that up. And then we organized with the city of Melbourne and also Keep Brevard Beautiful. Now we do cleanups where we feed people and we've got drinks for them.
Awesome.
We have some wonderful, wonderful folks who come out. We'll have 60 to 100 people coming out. And again, we're taking out tons of trash. And we've just been blessed to have such a neat with volunteer group in Brevard County. We've gotten folks like the Naval Sea Cadets.
Wow.
We've gotten the Junior ROTC.
That's
We've
it.
gotten with the Melbourne City Council, and just getting folks out there that have just been wonderful. The American Legion Post 163 and 191, they've just been incredibly helpful, but it's an ongoing problem. And it's not a problem that's just in Brevard County. This is a national problem because with the African American with graves, where oftentimes they'd pull headstones off and they'd build 2 cemeteries that we take care of right now, along with a third one. With these cemeteries, we're set up as a donation-only cemetery.
Interesting.
So there's no long-term care where you go to a white cemetery and you're paying thousands of dollars, along with, you're going to pay this fee to make sure that your loved ones are cared for.
Interesting.
But we would talk with one wonderful lady, Sharon Lucas, who is Stone Cemetery. And she is the last of the lineage of Stone Funeral Home and Stone Cemetery. She actually contacted us after watching Channel 13 News do a story about us.
Ooh.
And she actually got hold of Michael Cheek, who was her neighbor, who was just about 4 doors down, didn't know that he had started this with myself. And so we're now helping her cemetery. But she would tell stories about her grandmother and mother would get a call in the middle of the night that a newborn had passed. Because guess what? There's no hospitals. There was no prenatal care. There was none of that. You basically did everything yourselves because black folk just couldn't get that help.
Wow.
And with Sharon Lucas's family actually started Stone Taxi because black folk couldn't get picked up in a taxi. They had a Stone Market. They had Stone Doctors. They had and a Stone Funeral Home and Stone Cemetery. And Sharon would tell us that her mom and grandma would get a call that a little one had passed. So they would, the husband would start to make the little casket.
Whoa.
They would bring over a handmade blanket and a toy that they had made, knowing that these calls are going to happen. And they would pick up the child, wrap them in in these handmade towels, and they would place a toy in there. And then they'd be placed in the cemetery. So the cemetery has what we call a baby town, which is these dozens upon dozens of stillborn or newborn children. And with the Lucas family, or I should say the Stone family, actually had written records. So we got to look back in the 1930s and 40s, and you would read about how these people died. Dragged behind car till dead.
Wow.
Shot in the back of the head.
Goodness.
And all these things. And you're reading this history of Brevard County. And the thing is, no one knows about this. No one knows. And
I never heard of it.
Yeah. And so one of the things that we do, especially since we have the junior ROTC, we've got the Naval Sea Cadets, and we've got 60, 70 other people, is we really try to educate. Now, I'm a kid who has a Japanese mother, a Jewish father, with a Filipino-Irish wife.
Come on.
And my kids are Heinz 57. When we did the 23andMe, they just sent back, "Are you kidding?" Yeah, because there was just so much. It's like, okay, it's going to be 30 pages of what you are. Would have been simpler to put "you're not this," and it would have been one thing. But one of the things that happens is that being able to really work within this community, being able to get the word out, because and I'm not talking about just the black community; it's the white community. It's everybody who don't realize how important it is to be able to look at everybody and not go, "Oh, that's a black guy, we're not going to help him."
Right.
She's Hispanic. He's extremely white. Yeah, he's almost translucent. But
We got Mike Brodsky.
yeah, Casper once told him to get a tan.
It's got the jokes. He's a comedian, Mike.
I know, Bruce.
I know.
Yeah, me and James Yan, we're going to open up the next day.
You guys are funny.
But being able to get the word out. And one of the things that I talk about is in 1939, I believe that's the correct date, was the last lynching in Brevard County. Now, this was the third lynching of that month.
Oh, my gosh.
And with the gentleman was actually a driver for a traveling salesman. And they said, he touched this white girl. So he was arrested by the Melbourne PD, and he was being escorted by the chief of police of Melbourne back in the day up to Titusville, because that's where the real jail was. But somehow they were met with an angry torch-carrying mob. The kid was pulled out of his car with the chief of police, had his gun stripped from him. Oddly enough, he got it back the next day, probably from his friends. And they actually think that the chief was part of the Klan. And so they hung this young man up and until he died, but he was dying too slowly, so they shot him 19 times.
Gosh.
Now, that's not the horrifying part. As horrifying as that is, that road was named, and they named this Hanging Tree Lane.
No way.
What?
The tree was still up there for decades.
Of course.
And it wasn't until 1979 when the African American community said, "Come on, this is ridiculous." So they chopped down the tree a few years before that, but they renamed it Enchanting Lane or something. But those are some of the things that we really try to educate people on, because besides them not knowing about these cemeteries and what they go through and what the people went through, and that there is nothing out there that really talks about it.
Not at all.
And one of the things I was talking to Mr. Leonard Ross from the American Legion Post 191, and he was talking about a black artist from Duke Ellington and Satchmo to Aretha Franklin that played at these local clubs, and there's nothing about it. Now, if Elvis had come through, or Jim Morrison, who was from Melbourne, there'd be plaques.
Yes.
Right.
It would be written, yes.
There's nothing. We finally got, and this was a huge help, by Councilman Tim Thomas, who's actually Lieutenant Colonel, retired Army. He's now the vice mayor. And if it wasn't for him and a few other councilmen like Paul Alfrey, who's ex-Coast Guard, who's now the mayor, if it weren't for those two and a few other council people, they wouldn't have been able to actually get Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard in Brevard County, because for 40 years they had tried.
Wow.
And always council people had kind of went, well, we're going to only do that in the black community and we'll give you half a block. And with the community said no. So we eventually, what was called Airport Road is now Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Awesome.
But that took a huge effort, because there are still folks who went, oh, no, we don't want that in our neighborhood. And it was like, really?
Wow.
Yeah.
So funny is, so if anyone has, because, you know, now that you said this, I went to North Carolina when my godmother died. This was 2 years ago, before COVID. And she was at a cemetery. It was quite small. And so when I was walking around it, it did look like it was abandoned. And I looked and I seen 18 something and 18. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is so old. And it was getting faded away.
Yeah.
And some stones were down. The writing was faded, or it looked abandoned. So I asked, how did my godmother get buried here? Crazy story, long story short. She actually was in the history of slave owners. So her family line is slave owners. They own these properties. They're allowed to be buried there because they own it.
Got it.
But the ones that are buried there are mostly Black, African American. So they allowed it, but they let it go, if it
Okay.
makes sense. So there's nobody taking care of it. They probably won't even take care of her. And we were asking, like, who maintenances this? But nobody can give you an answer.
Wow.
So it's just sitting there for all these years. And there's a lot of these that are small that are sitting there. And they're babies and
All different.
Yes.
Everyone.
down, cracked, abandoned.
Wow.
I just thought that someone had to own the property. And parents, no, they could walk away from it. They could let it go, or they could never say anything, or they could just not care. And if they're the slave owners like them, they didn't care. They just let it go. So now it just started making sense to me that
That was probably done, like he was saying, all over the United States. We have to get a
That's
song
it.
in, you
Yes.
all. And then we have to get Miss Angela for a
That's
quick
right.
one with Miss Angela.
Yep.
And we'll be back in with Mr. Bruce.
yes, I want to talk to Mr. Bruce about the cemeteries, because perhaps if you guys see abandoned cemeteries, especially with the veterans, reach out to us. That's a big deal, guys.
Yes,
we
it
must
is.
take care of them. They took care of us.
That's right.
Peace on the streets.
Welcome back to Peace on the Streets radio show, where we play the smoothest love songs in town.
Come on.
And we have the one and only on, you guys, Mrs. International World, Mrs.
Miss
Angela.
Angela.
How you doing today, Miss Angela?
You know, that song just brought back some memories for me.
Yes, ma'am.
But I got to search you. I got one for Mimi, too.
Come on.
Last Thursday night, I don't know if you remember him, but I went to see Johnny Mathis in concert.
Shut up.
Oh, yeah. Now, I knew John very well. I used to pal out with him in the late 80s and the early 90s.
She chilled with everybody, Miss Angela. She's a beast.
Yes,
Oh,
she
yeah. But now there's a story. There's definitely a story behind this, so you got to listen to this one, okay? He come out with he sings all these love ballads, and he comes out with this song last week, 99 Miles to L.A. Now, you got to picture this. I got my husband Al sitting next to me.
Uh-huh.
Now, all of a sudden, I'm going crazy, and then I go into this trance. And Al's looking at me going, something's wrong here. I said, I'll tell you later, because now my mind is gone. What it reminded me of is I knew John's sister very well, Marguerite. So John had put out an album with Henry Mancini called The Hollywood Musicals, and they were doing a big show at Carnegie Hall in New York City. So we went to the album signing. Back then, Tower Records was really big.
Huh.
So here I am. I come in with his sister, and I come into Tower Records, and I'm all dressed up, and I got my fur coat on, you know.
Yeah.
And John sees me walk through the door, and he stops everything. He's, that's it. My girl is here. Gotta go.
Come on.
Come on. Now I'm walking down the street with Johnny Mathis, arm in arm, and we're going to Il Malastrillo's for lunch.
Come on now.
And I'm telling you, this was bigger than life. Everybody, we had to have so many bodyguards because everybody and their brother was stopping us on the street. People wanted my autograph.
Come on. You know exactly what you're talking about, right, Mr. Bruce?
Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
And
Johnny Mathis.
and also Tower Records. That's
So
Johnny
we
Mathis,
get into-
Mr. Smooth.
Yeah.
We get into Il Malastrillo's, and, you know, we've got all these VIPs, so I'm going down and sitting at the end of the table. I'm going to go sit with his sister. Goes, darling, you're over here, and I'm right next to now. I'm like, this is crazy.
She's destined for this.
That's when I heard that song. I said, "Oh my God!" I said, "It just brought me back to Tower Records, New York City, and the days when I was crazy."
The days when she was crazy.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, she's just half crazy now.
Her stories were insane, though. She needs to write a book. She needs to have a memoir. Miss Angela has met everybody in the game. She even was honored by the president.
Wow.
Yes.
Here's the real moral of that story. The day that happened, I wasn't married to Al yet. I was engaged, and he was at a convention up in New York State, and that was the day I decided to shut my phone off.
Oh, boy.
Nobody could find me that day. I mean, I had people at work that were trying to call me. Nobody. I mean, not even my mother. Nobody could find me that day. It wasn't until 9 o'clock that night that I surfaced.
Oh, boy. Yes,
What was Miss
sir.
Angela doing?
Yeah, Mr. Al was smoking hot.
Oh yeah, that was the day that I said, this is it. I'm turning off this phone.
Yes.
I said it. Nobody's going to find me today. and you know, it was funny because Prince, I was thinking of you last Thursday night when I was at that concert, and when that song came on, 99 Miles to LA, I said, that's it. I got a story for Prince on the show next week.
You got to play that, Prince.
Yes.
I actually don't know who this artist is. I never
Okay.
heard of him. But
Right.
can we play it?
Yes, we can.
Introduce me.
Yes.
All right, awesome.
Oh, we'll
got
be
it.
slow dancing here for hours.
So this is like R&B, right, guys? R&B
It's
or
smooth.
rhythm and blues type of?
Sexy R&B. This is
Wow.
Al Green with the
Got
smiles.
it.
That's
He's
right.
more R&B love ballads. I mean, he goes way back. As a matter of fact, he actually came out even a little before my time. But what made him popular again was during the disco era. He had recorded a song called "Begin to Begin," and they actually put they redid it as a disco song, and it was very popular during the disco era. All the clubs were playing it. So as an older entertainer, it actually brought him in to the younger set and the people that were going to disco. So that kind of brought him back. So his audience is really a mixed bag. You've got people my age, younger, and even older than me. And that's what we even saw last Thursday night. So, yeah, I would have to say, now in New York, the biggest R&B stations was WBLS, which, and then you had WWRL. Those are the stations he was pretty popular on. So, but in New York, those were the two biggest R&B stations.
That's it. And I know, Miss Angela, not to get off the subject, but we're going on the Margaritaville ship, right? So this is like a new version of Margaritaville, which they allowed to get the name for it. So we're basically like bringing Margaritaville back, right, Prince? And it's something I'd never experienced. It's not my time, and I can't wait to experience this. So we're bringing this back on ship, reminiscing new era
Sweet.
of Margaritaville. And Miss Angela, when are we leaving? Because the date has changed, guys. When are we leaving to compete?
We are, you know, We are leaving. The new date now is October 15th through the 17th. We've got Tito all confirmed. But I am actually leaving in 2 weeks. We are doing an inaugural cruise. So I'm going on the inaugural cruise to Margaritaville at sea.
Crazy.
And we got Jimmy Buffett going with us.
Jimmy
on
Buffett. Hey, Miss Angela, I got some heavy hitters here right now. I have Mr. Bruce and I have Mike, and they're part of like the NFL whole league, the alumni. If you ever need anyone in sports, with these guys are heavy hitters, let me know. I would love to bring them on the ship, Miss Angela. I would love to have them be experienced this Margaritaville. It's a guys. This is like my third tour now with Miss International World, but instead now I'll be competing instead of running media.
Yeah.
And my team's gonna come in and run the media.
Exactly.
If you need these guys, Miss Angela, let me know, because that would be
No, it's kinda-
amazing.
You know what? First of all, we're so proud of you. I mean, that show you did the other night was slam dunk.
Come on, Miss Angela.
Killed that show the other night. In fact, I was just rewriting your bio because on my show this week, Make Our World Your Runway, we're actually going to be doing 2 shows, and instead of it going Thursday night, it's actually going Friday night, and we are doing a recap of season 1.
Wow.
I cannot believe all the people that I actually interviewed
Come on.
for season 1. I was like, this is like Dancing with the Stars. I said, oh, I cannot believe this. So I've got, you know, when we came under entertainers, of course, I had Tito, I had Melina. I
Yes.
said, oh, my God, I got to put, now that Mimi's a celebrity, I got to put her under there.
Get out of here.
So I took you out of the pageant category and put you in with all the superstars.
Come
Go ahead
on.
now.
I receive it. I'm ready to take over.
Yeah.
Even Miss Angela, you just see me real quick. She's talking about the James Young show, with the Lowdown is what it's called, guys. So again, watch it. If you miss it, it will be on their YouTube. It was Afro TV. And when I was on there, they allow me, Miss Angela, because I did come in with the sash and crown. I had it in my bag out of respect. But when I got in the studio, I asked the producers, because you have to ask permission. I did. They looked at it. They said, oh, you must wear your sash and crown. They allow me to, Miss Angela. So because of them, I was able to represent.
Thank you for that. That was a slam dunk. And you know, we've actually this year, and in fact, I'm doing a call with them on Tuesday. VIP pageantry is coming back in a very big way, and they're actually going to be covering Miss Bahamas Universe in June. Oof. And with some of my contacts down there, and of course with Layla, they're going to look to get us a Miss Bahamas, which we definitely need this year.
Yes, we do.
Which, you know, and then getting VIP pageantry to come back. But one of the things that I would love to see happen for you, Mimi, because I think you'd be absolutely dynamic. As you know, you are a recipient of 100 Successful Women in Business.
Yes.
And this year, they are going to be taking the event to London, England, which is going to be absolutely spectacular. Now, I'm doing a 3-way conversation on Friday with a girl in England that's helping us for that, and, of course, Maria and myself and a few designers. Now, if we can get a good amount of sponsors, I would definitely love to see you be in England.
Come on.
on.
I receive it.
You
Yes.
can actually cover that for a piece on the streets. In fact, Layla from VIP Pageantry, she's going.
Oh, really?
Is she?
I must go. They're awesome at VIP Pageantry because I actually collaborated with them when we went on the ship last year. So this is the thing. They run media as well as I do, and we were able to collaborate, became friends, and we did it together.
Nice.
We assisted each other.
Right.
That's
I remember
a beautiful
you telling
thing.
me about that. Yeah.
Yes, because usually, you know, you compete and you're like looking at each other. Instead, we met, hugged, got to know each other, and then helped each other when we were exposing everything on the ship.
And you know, Mimi, I figure like this: we got a hook.
Come on.
You know, even if I always say, depending on the sponsors, but you know, all we have to do is call the White House and say, "Listen, we need to borrow Air Force One because we got Mr. Air Force One, and we just go over to England with Air Force One."
This Angela, I'm ready.
Come back and tell them we're borrowing it for a week, and then come back.
I'm ready.
Yeah, I know that's
I
right.
could definitely call a few of my sponsors, and God willing, they would assist me. I've never been to Europe. I was supposed to go to see my sister when she was overseas, but they took her out of Europe. Like, I was supposed to go 2 days. I was a day away to go to her to Europe, and they pulled her out instead of to Turkey. I was this close to getting stranded in Europe without her. So I said, it's God's plan.
Yeah,
Pull me out.
We definitely got to try to get you to England. I'm going to have that conversation on Friday because I'll be there, and I think you'll be dynamic. I'm going to be hosting the fashion show.
Yes.
Okay, so, which would be great. But we have some really exciting news. So a real great update. Our supermodel, Melina Rodriguez, who's also Supermodel of the Year for Supermodels Unlimited magazine, has now, and she's getting all expenses paid, she is now going to be the model coach for Supermodels Unlimited magazine.
Come on,
What?
Melina.
Congratulations.
Melina, co-host on
She's
stage.
going to be going
Yes.
to Baltimore and one other state. I saw it today.
Wow,
They
big
put
deal.
Everything in writing. And if this works out, this is going to be like paid events for her, and she will be the host and the model coach for Supermodels magazine. So that was a big hit for us today. We're really excited about that.
That's a big
Awesome.
deal. And Melina was a co-host with me when I was on the Salsa Fest on stage with 10,000 individuals.
Right.
Let me say this is her first time ever being on stage. I trained her on the spot, on stage with
Come on.
10,000 people. She came out like, Mimi, thank you for being so gracious and for the opportunity, because I knew what to do with her on the spot.
Right.
And she killed it.
She did.
She killed it. Yes.
Awesome.
I'm so proud of her. God bless you, Melina. Come
Yes.
on. We gotta
You know what?
wrap up the
now that she's
highlights.
she's got accomplishments. We got to
That's
get
right.
her on the show. We've in the lab between Mimi and Walina the last couple of weeks. We've had some slam dunks. But you know,
Come
Mimi,
on.
now I will send you the information because now we can start booking people. Now that
Got
I
it.
just re-signed my contract for those dates, it is set in stone. Tito now, we're going to be working on his contract. He's got it. He's confirmed.
Awesome.
We've got, of course, the violinist. Okay, he's confirmed. So that show's going to be a slam dunk, and anything else that Margaritaville can throw our way.
That's right, guys. So we're working on an agreement to have our listeners, our audience, our friends join us on a cruise for a reasonable price through Miss International World. And if you're part of this organization, they treat you like gold.
That's right.
Just saying. They take me to the front of the line when it's
Yes.
time to eat. They let me get out sooner because we have a show to conduct. So
Right.
it's amazing. Miss Angela, we're running out of time. Do you have any more highlights to release on air?
Well, what I'll be able to do now is when I'm on the ship, I'm going to be able to film and I'm going to be able to scope out because I think it's the Grand Classic redone as Margaritaville. But from what I understand, a lot of things have been stripped out and a lot of things have been changed. So now I'll be able to say, okay, this is where we're going to do the swimwear. You know, of course, the main show goes on stage. But it's really going to be dynamic. I mean, there's a lot more restaurants now. I mean, I think
Wow.
we had 3, now there's like 5.
Whoa.
Okay, so it's going to be a brand new
show.
whole new experience. I mean,
Nice.
it's just going to be amazing.
Exclusive
Awesome.
for us.
From the time we get on to the time we get off, it will be will be great. So I'm looking forward to this, and just the fact that they got me going on the inaugural cruise, I felt a little important.
Yes. Yes,
Insane,
indeed.
Miss Angela. We need an autograph.
Yes,
we should have
indeed.
gotten it before.
That's right.
But guys, if you want to be a part of the organization, reach out to Miss International World or Miss Latina International. CEO is Miss Angela. You want to be part of the ship? I'm going to offer this to you guys as well, Mike and Bruce, if you want to be a part of this ship, this tour. It's insane. It's a new cruise ship that's exclusive for us, and we're opening it. And they're allowing to have Margaritaville, which is, it was untouched.
Yes.
You know, once they closed, you couldn't use a name.
Right.
Now they're allowing it to be, and we're going to kill it.
That's
So
it.
again, guys, reach out to us every Wednesday. Miss Angela is airing with the highlights and the updates of Miss International World. Ladies and gentlemen, CEO, Miss Angela in the building. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Bruce in the building with Mike. You guys are heavy hitters again in the game. Any part of the alumni, real quick? I want to discuss this before we have in the new guest.
Okay.
What is that exactly, guys?
World Sports Alumni, worldsportsalumni.com. Certainly check out the website, worldsportsalumni.com. You can learn more about it. Bruce, of course, is a member, and we have a lot of other former professional athletes that are part of this association. The book that we were talking about earlier in the show, for those who were paying attention earlier, Fourth Down and Damn Alignment Story, the autobiography of Leon Searcy, was actually the first book under WSA Publishing, World Sports Alumni Publishing.
Wow.
But what else would you like to add, Bruce, about the organization?
Well, one, really reading that book was like being back in college and as a pro, because what Leon didn't do was hold things back. When you read most books, they're so scrubbed and sanitized, but Leon spoke from the heart about what was right and wrong with the game and what was right and wrong with him. And that's something that you normally don't get, is this really outpouring of the truth, because so many times it has to be sanitized. It has to be approved by the NFL. It has to be done by this. And when you do the Shield, and that's, I think one reason why we started World Sports Alumni, because being one of the founders, one of the 6, we had such a problem with being able to do things, be able to do stuff with like just the Boys and Girls Club, where we had to get permission from the NFL alumni. And it took months upon months to do. We couldn't go to a children's hospital without getting their approval. And that's why we started World Sports Alumni. And now we're the only alumni in the world that empowers professional athletes, some who are still playing the game, and old guys like me who used to battle dinosaurs when we'd go for breakfast. And having an organization that has our back. And one of the things that we really want to talk about is oftentimes these athletes are just used up. And one of our jobs with Mike and myself, being able to get them monetized to possibly be able to do commercials, be able to do things that allows them to actually earn a living. Because if you look at the honor roll of NFL alumni, within 2 years, something like 80% are now bankrupt and living out of their car. And when you read this book by Leon, Fourth Down and Damn, it is that unscrubbed, unvarnished, amazing book that Mike was able to work with Leon and be able to come up with just the heart of a book that you'll never, ever see unless you read this book.
Yeah,
Mike and Leon.
We're about to make this a movie.
Well, as a matter of fact, we're about 60% done with the script. We'd love to have it turned into a movie at some point in the near future.
Yeah.
But the NFL draft is next weekend, and of course, as a matter of fact, Leon Searcy is actually going out to Las Vegas for the draft.
Wow.
He'll be out there
Exciting.
to kind of hopefully educate some of the draft picks about things not to do.
Right.
Leon certainly made a lot of mistakes along the way, and I think the book is sort of a good reminder of what not to do, and maybe some mistakes that Leon made. Some of these new draft picks hopefully can learn from some of the mistakes that he made.
One of which is, don't spend all your money and know you won't play forever.
Right.
Come on.
And a lot of them
that's a
forget
mentality.
that. They
But that's
think
within
that-
anything, modeling,
They go-
competing, and anything.
They think the money's just gonna continue to keep running in. They
You can't
hot
physically
right now.
be in best shape
But
forever.
like
Right.
I've done work for a couple of football players, and he was like, he just really lived off his signing bonus. He just tried to put a lot of his money up. And he didn't buy everything all the expensive cars and the jewelry. He kind of waited. Now he's able to do that because he did good by his money,
Right.
But that's one of a few.
Yeah.
And they have these classes.
That's what I was gonna say. Are they trained to know how to manage their money, guys, for monetizing for the long run? You know,
You got a 19-year-old with $10 million. You can't tell him nothing.
So they don't assign themselves to anybody like of that nature, or the NFL
there's too
doesn't
many
provide that.
Yeah, there's too many Kardashians out there.
Man.
There are a lot of bad influences. I think certainly, within their lives, they have people that are, asking for more and more and more. And I think one of the things that Leon really talks about in the book is sort of learning, to say no. I mean, and that's hard for a lot of young kids, because they think the money's just going to keep rolling in forever, and that's just not the case. But it's tough. I mean, I think the NFL is trying to do a better job of educating the young players that are coming up, but. Still, the reality is, these kids are getting a lot of pressure from within their families, their friends, their inner circles, and even, let's face it, there are a lot of less than reputable advisors that are trying to get their hands on their money and maybe do things that shouldn't be done with the money as well. So there's a lot of issues at work here that.
Could you look at a lot of those guys? They was poor. They don't know anything about finances.
Sure.
They haven't taken any classes. That's what I respect about LeBron James. He told his friends, "You want to be a part of this train? Go get educated. Go get a degrees." So all those guys went and got degrees, and he paid for them. But now it's paying off. Now he got people that he can trust Well, who
Right.
can you trust with money? But I'm just saying.
Yeah, when it's that much money,
Yeah, that much.
yeah, you can trust you.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Yeah.
when it comes down to it, no one is used to this kind of money because it's more zeros than you could possibly comprehend.
Right.
And all your friends are all going, well, I'm the one who helped you get here.
Yeah.
And when you have a mentality of, I'm going to take care of everybody, you got to take care of you first.
That's
Interesting.
it.
Yeah.
Mom, dad, brother, sister, boom, done.
Yeah, right.
That's it. But
Yes.
So let me ask you this real quick because I have a question about the retirement. A lot of the NFL players are retiring at the age of 30 and before because they don't feel like they're getting taken care of through medical care, their insurance, anything of that nature. They rather just retire and be healthy, almost like Brady because he's killing right now, but he is living a lifestyle of health for the past like 25, 30 years to remain healthy. Do you think it's a smart move for them to retire early? Do you think they don't have enough benefits in the NFL? Like, what is the problem?
I think it really depends. I mean, the reality is that the average career in the NFL is less than 4 years, and
Interesting.
You know, and not everybody is
2
making
and a
Tom
half.
Brady money. So you know, the reality is that a lot of them may not have banked enough money, and if they retire and they expect to continue to live the same lifestyle they were living when they were making, you know, that even the NFL minimum, it's not so easy once that paycheck stops. So it depends. I think, you know, they really have to do the right planning, and you know, they have to assume that the career isn't going to last terribly long. But
You think it's a smart move for them to retire early?
In a lot of cases, they don't have a choice. I mean, a lot of times they have to retire early because they've been hurt, they've been injured,
Blown
and the career's
knees
over.
and
bad
you know,
knees, bad.
They want to be
hits,
able to
bad
celebrate
whatever.
their money at an early age. So they don't want to play
Sure.
for so long and then be crippled or hurt or injuries in the head, all that nature. So they're saying that the NFL is not there for us in the long run. So we're retiring early to be able to enjoy ourselves and our money and stay healthy.
We're going to have to bring them back.
We do. Can we bring you guys
sports talk.
back?
Go
I
sports
know, because
talk.
it's went by so fast.
Get out of here.
sure,
y'all.
we'll be back in 15 minutes.
Guys, we're going to be back with Mr. Bruce and Mike. We're going to bring them back. It's amazing.
Sports talk.
You guys willing to come back for sports talk? I'm bringing Coach Rossum this time as well. May I?
We'll do something. We'll do something.
All right.
Absolutely.
They're local here in Orlando. They'll be back, guys.
Yes, they will.
Thank you so much for being with us. Do you want to release your pages, guys? Website, Instagram, anything you want to release?
Go ahead. I'll give my link tree. Linktree, linktr.ee/Mike Brodsky, MikeBrodsky. All the links there.
And I've got your Backyard Superstore at yahoo.com. And you can even give me a call. I'll give you my cell phone number because I'm crazy that way at 321-514-9874. And if you leave a funny message, I'll call you back in a funny voice. So
Thank you so much for being with us, Mr. Bruce. And by the way, real quick, Mr. Bruce is the one that introduced me to James Yarn's show.
Nice.
If it wasn't for him,
Hey.
I would have never been put on TV.
Yes,
so we
sir.
thank you, Mr. Bruce. And Mike, thank you for being with us. You made my dreams come true, Mr. Bruce.
Right here, peace on the street.
Woo!